Do it again, Jake. Jake, come out here and show them what you got here. Dude, exactly. Nailed it. I'm Rich.
I'm Frank.
And it's people, pints, and possibilities.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Here we are in beautiful Paso Robles, California at Cal Coast Beer Company. I'm the Vibe Titan. I got my boy over here.
We're just dabbling around.
The dabbler.
Nice machine today.
Fixing things. And then Brent Poppen, who's here, is going to win the Powerball.
Yeah, that's the plan.
And you don't have a nickname.
Yeah, there's probably a few.
How about Mr. Gold? Can we just go with that one? What's your newest one?
The nickname that people I think have always, which has stuck with me, the old school people from even high school, for some reason, they've doubled up my first name. So it's always been Brent.
Brent.
And
That's
I can be down in Long Beach at some bar, at some restaurant, and someone will yell out, "Hey, what's up, Brent?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, that goes back to back in high school."
Yeah.
So I don't know why the double first name kicked in,
but you know they're OG friends. If
oh,
they
for
call
sure.
You that.
Yeah, that's the one I'm turning around making time for.
That's Toby, and the last one he said, "If you call me Tobin, you don't know me. If you yell Toby, I know you know me." Yeah.
A quick jump in with a Tobin story.
Go, please.
So, knee deep into the wine business here and tasting and all that, and take a bunch of people out. Tobin's always on our rotation. And we took, 15, 17 people, car, the whole bit. And all the girls and myself, I'm not a beer guy, I'm a wine guy. And we
won't hold that against you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. That's why
Welcome.
I'm drinking wine with for the two beer
That's why we do it all.
And inside Tobin James, and there's a bunch of beer in the back of the truck. All the boys got solo cups inside Tobin drinking, and there's 15 of us, so it stands kind of out. And Tobin just happened to be there that day, and big hug, taps me on the shoulder. "Hey, can I come talk to you you can talk to me for a minute?" And I go, "Yeah." He brings everybody over. He's like, "I know all the solo cups are your people. I can't have 15 people rolling around with solo cups in my wine tasting room." He said, "Bring them all over to me." So everyone goes over to the bar to see Toby. He dumps out all the solo cups, gives them all wine glasses, goes behind the bar and pours them all beer that's from behind the bar.
No kidding.
And he's like, you guys don't have to drink wine. You just got to drink beer. I have a wine glass for me.
There you go.
And we were there all day. And he took care. I think that's now changed because
that creates a lasting memory, though.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Taking a negative experience, well, could have been a negative experience,
yeah,
and turning it around, right?
No, totally got it. Old school.
Yep.
Toby's that way, and so
that extra 5% right there.
Yeah, that is.
It's Toby right there.
For sure.
It's exactly what Tobin was talking about last week too, or 2 weeks ago, and how he said, like, if your winemaker's drinking wine, he's not the guy.
Yeah.
No.
And he said as a joke, but like it holds a little bit of merit.
And Tobin's always one of those wineries and we'll probably get into it later, but it supports all my stuff down the road. If I need a case of wine for a book signing, or we're doing a fundraiser at Children's Hospital, and we're doing a wine pouring event. Like, I know I could just make a phone call or go down there and talk to the general manager, and there's no crazy meetings or paperwork, or you need to fill this out last year. We have to look through all these and submit it. They're just like, if you need it, we got you. Let's go.
Community. Yeah.
And some of the other places in Paso, some of the new places, when you go in there and ask for that support, even if it's for somebody like Children's Hospital, there's a lot of red tape that you have to go through. And I get it. They get asked by so many people for so many things. So I completely understand that side of it. But Tobin is old school. Peachy's old. Like, some of these old school guys just understand the bigger picture of helping the local community and go over and beyond.
It's the OGs.
Yeah,
it is.
And we got to get Peachy Canyon on here to set the record straight, because Toby, they started together.
Yeah.
So we got to.
That's going to be fun.
Tobias, way back in the day.
No, so we're gonna get there. All right, let's give this man a proper introduction. The resume is ridiculous. You're an author. You're a motivational speaker, a counselor for kids and adults. Shoot, you're an inspiration to everybody. A gold medalist in 2 sports.
Bronze medal.
A gold medalist and a bronze medalist. Was there a gold in there?
Well, representing the United States, you're right. A lot of gold medals, a lot of silver medals, a lot of bronze medals. For the Paralympics, which is the highest level of competition, 1 bronze medal in wheelchair rugby.
Okay.
But
and
lots
that's
of gold
badass.
medals representing the country.
Absolutely. And then a wakeboarder, surfer.
Yeah.
And you're also a music enthusiast because we get to see you hit some of the concerts here. And then just
Absolutely.
an inspirational guy. I just wanted to tell the story. I got to see you when I first came to Paso and I was working in education. And just in this moment, you were working with some kids outside on the blacktop, giving them a talk about your motivational story. You're giving your story, and these kids were inspired not only, but I was inspired as an adult in the room, and I felt connected to, or I felt the, gosh, I guess this is a big word for me, is like when people feel compelled to reach out, right?
Yeah.
That's like a big deal. Like not only you connected so much that when I saw you, I'm like, man, I really want to just tell you, like, you do a great job. And so we're excited to have you today and feel blessed to get somebody of your positivity in here. So
I appreciate it. And part of it is like, you just never know where your life is going to lead you, right? I didn't know that interaction all those years ago would end up being here at your brewery at Cal Coast at
Absolutely.
a podcast. So
Yeah.
it's funny how life
leads you
puts
that way.
things in front of you. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
and you have to take advantage of it. So to give the people, I know you've been a Paso guy for how many years? 20?
We moved here January 99
Wow. You
So-
definitely beat the you were ahead of the curve on that one.
by literally like a year.
Really, and then it just took off.
It just took off. We're out off of Lake Road on a little bit of property, and just got in at the right time.
I mean, I heard you have a badass pool. Someone told me that.
Yeah, we're fortunate. We're fortunate. We got
In
in
a good way.
We got
Yeah,
the right
yeah.
time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
slowly been putting.
I don't know who told me that, but if a friend of yours had a barbecue at your house or something, I said, "Oh, I love that guy," and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've been at a barbecue at their house before." Yeah,
We have
so-
we have a little corner of the world right there,
which you
and-
couldn't afford now anymore, right?
No,
None
not,
of us
not even
could.
close.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're very thankful for what we have, and we fell in love with Paso. My folks retired here, probably 10 or 15 years before we moved up here, and so Eric and I had been dating, visiting my folks, fell in love with Paso. She finished her education before me. Wanted to be a teacher. You want to teach in Long Beach? You want to teach in Paso? She goes, let's roll, and
Yeah.
here we are.
And shout out to your wife. She is a badass teacher over
She's a
there.
boss.
She's doing the hard work of working with the kids is probably great. Working with the red tape is not so great. So we'll leave it at that. We've been in there, but she's an amazing lady, and shout out to her. And always had a lot of respect for her and everything she's doing over there.
Yeah,
with the
I always
team.
say when you see somebody doing what they're supposed to be doing in the world, she's that bullseye for doing what she's supposed to be doing in the world.
Yep.
And that's always cool.
That's great.
Obviously, it's my wife, so I love it for her, but I love to see anybody being successful doing with what they love to do.
And those grades, we've said this already on another podcast before, are the most difficult grades to teach because the information has to get through to the kids or you can set them back so
Yeah.
early. And then B, you're just dealing with, you have to be very specific in your instruction and how you entertain kids, and you have to draw their attention because you're still dealing with 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
And so you have to be very direct, and they give some of the best direction. Quiet mouths, quiet hands, all these different things that are
Yeah.
just beautiful. So shout out to her. We have a lot of respect for those primary grades.
I think the best compliment somebody could give, and what she gets it at the end of every year, is not only is my kid smarter, not only did you teach my kid, but she hears it every year. You made my kid a better kid.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
that's,
Wow.
that's bottom line. That's, you've succeeded.
And it's like we practice that because our purpose here is bring people together
Right.
and leave them better. And that comes from a lot of the school stuff, which is people can't learn to move towards something or don't know the direction they're going unless they understand where you are and where you're going. And so we wanted everyone who worked here, we bring people together. It's not about the beer. We bring people together and leave them better. And that means the people who walk in the door and the people who choose to work here. So for your purpose, what's giving you meaning right now? What are you pumped about?
I think it's falls in line with your motto. For me, I've been at 15 years at Children's Hospital. 125-mile commute one way. I don't get paid for my time driving, and so my 8-hour day is a 11-hour day. My 15-hour day is an 18-hour day kind of thing. But it's going there and making a difference. Not just when they hired me. I said, I know you're hiring me for the kids. It's Children's Hospital, but I was that kid at 16 that went through what these kids are going through. I'll spend more time with the family than I will with the kids. We figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's the parents, mom and dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa, that have a lot of the time the hardest time dealing with those difficult circumstances. So,
Wow.
it's like you say, it's going there and spending that time with them and hopefully leaving them better than when you found them.
That's powerful. I had a coach, I said this before and I always use it. I'm not in your position, but it was really helpful for me. I've said this before, is Justin Garza, a good friend of mine. He passed away from cancer in his early 40s. He was a head coach and a great human being. I asked him how I could help, and it's along the lines of what you were saying is, he said, I'm in the center of a circle. He drew a circle on a board. He said, I'm in the center. I have cancer and I'm going to die. Right. And he told me that. And then he said, my wife is the next band. She's the closest thing. And then my kids, and then my parents, and then my brother. And he described it. And he said, the one thing you can do for me is not complain in or just have a negative attitude in. And I said, what do you mean? And he just described like, don't say you had a bad day to my dad because my dad's having a bad day. And he doesn't tell me that I'm having a bad day because I'm in the center. No one gets to tell me I'm having a bad day because I'm living it, right?
Yeah.
And he said, that's the best thing people could do for me. And he's like, it's just really hard when people complain. And so it was that same therapy that you're talking about really for the people surrounding, trying to help someone. But then there's the reality of the person who's going through it.
Yeah.
And so your history, tell us a little bit about your history and how you became an expert in helping people, I guess.
Well, I, along the lines of what you're just saying, I'll catch that a lot with my my staff at Children's Hospital. At lunchtime, we're sitting around just having honest conversations, and someone, will be bitching about, their leg hurts, or I stubbed my toe, or I have the flu. And they look at me, quadriplegic in a wheelchair, doing everything. And I'm like, fuck. I'm complaining to the wrong person. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And it's I think it's a reality check for them. But I get that same reality check from the kids I deal with at Children's Hospital. I deal with kids who I've had kids ask me to be in their room when they take their last breath. You know what I mean? And so I still have bad days. Being in a chair and doing everything I do doesn't immune me from that. But that 2.5 hour drive home is like a reality check for me. Like, man, like sometimes I think I'm having a bad day, and I've just been with these kids who had a lumbar puncture, in the morning, and then we're still making them do PT and OT for 3 hours in the afternoon, and they kill it, they grind it,
just fighting through it.
And so it's a reality check for me as well, being at Children's Hospital, to be like, life is good.
Yeah.
What is your typical day at Valley Children's? How does that kind of work?
So I'm their rehab counselor.
Okay.
So I work in the rehab department, and so we deal with the sickest kids that are going to be at the hospital the longest. So the kids actually have to qualify to be part of our program. If a kid has a broken leg, he might come to the hospital, be there overnight or a day. We never see him. Kid could be really sick, come into ICU, get better. We never see him. But the kid, someone who has a life-changing illness or life-changing ability that's going to be in the hospital for a significant amount of time, get physically weaker, emotionally weaker, then they'll qualify for our rehab program. And then once they're stable and have enough endurance to withstand our rehab program, we bring them down and spend, 1, 2, 3, 6 weeks with them till we get them to a place where they're safe to go home, and then we send them home.
And in that time, you're dealing with parents and, like you said, grandmas and
and we deal with every it does not just spinal cord injuries like myself, a lot of traumatic brain injuries, a lot of car accidents, swimming, drowning, random viruses, things that the general public thankfully is probably not aware of that we see at the hospital. And then dealing with all the different family members. I think that's why I've been of value to Children's Hospital. Is if a kid comes to ICU, I might get a message saying, hey, we have a spinal cord kid who's paralyzed. He's going to end up being a rehab kid we know down the road. Will you go see him while he's up in ICU? Because this family has been dealing with it for 2 or 3 days, and they're just looking at a black hole. They don't see any hope.
They don't have the tools.
They don't have the tools, and they just you only know what you know, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so if I roll into the ICU, it gives them a chance, like, oh, my kid's not as bad as you, and you have this amazing life. My kid's gonna be okay.
Yeah, you have something. So when we were in schools, we knew the teachers that connected genuinely. They could either they had been where those kids had been from. Like I've been where you've been, and you have that instant credibility. And you when you come in, like you said, you provide that I've been where you've been, and that you can't fake that.
No, I think it's being, and we talked about pre-show being authentic.
Yeah,
like, I think that's one of my biggest gifts, that, and I'm honest, I don't give the family false hope, but we definitely don't take hope away from them. Me being there, I always tell them, doesn't make it easier. You're still going to have, it's going to be hard, but now you have a team with you that you can lean on, that understands, that's been down that road before. And your kid's going to have graduation. Your kid's going to go to the prom. Your kid's going to get a driver's license. Your kid's going to have a family. Like, everything that you automatically just assumed wasn't possible, we're going to show you and teach you that kid's going to have an amazing life.
And you're giving them more than hope. Hope is good, but hope is kind of like this big big thing out there. But you believe in them, and you have a belief because you've walked in it. You've been in those places and you've lived that life and you've leaned into it. There's no bigger gift than that.
No, I always and I think one of the things, I look for inspiration and fuel when I'm running low on it. And one of the things I always fall back on is I work a lot in Bakersfield in their inner city schools. Last year we did 30 campuses at Bakersfield, and a principal called me one time and said, "Hey, I just want to share with you this. Mom called me from this kid that you had a couple days ago." And the kid went home and told the mom, "Hey, Mr. Poppen hugged me at the end of the day." And the mom was like, "All right." And she's like, "No, he hugged me like he really cared."
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and I don't, remember that particular kid, but it was enough to make an impact on that kid to tell the parent, for the parent to call the principal, for the principal to make that chain come back to me. And it just gives me that lesson. Like, you don't always know the impact you're going to have.
Yeah.
And
it fills you, right?
Yeah.
Because it give you energy, I'm guessing, right? Like,
you just have to trust, when you're doing the right thing. I'll have a kid get a hold of me 2 years after we discharged a kid from the hospital, and the kid sent me a message, said, "Hey, Mr. Poppen, it's been 2 years since I left Valley Children's, and I'm just starting to learn the messages you were teaching me. I'm learning my scars tell my story."
wow.
That's 2 years down the road. And so you don't always get that even with teachers,
Yeah, your wife, I was going to say, you probably both get the same energy, the same juice, right?
Yeah.
She sees students when they're fully grown saying, "I remember your class."
Her go back to my amazing wife, her favorite day is when the graduates from high school come back and walk through the campus. She bawls all day long.
Yeah.
But she gets that feedback of those kids that cry with her, that tell her that she's had this lasting impact, 9 years later.
Yeah.
They still relive some of the things that they've taught her. And so, I'm sure she doesn't remember every message she's taught. She just has to trust what I'm doing is planting that seed. And then, 9 years later, she gets to see it firsthand.
And we talk about it a lot with our people here is the power in what you do. You're a motivational speaker, but the reality of it is exactly what you said. With our team here, we can put out and show them everything that we think will make them successful. Your wife can go through and create the best lesson plans and do that. You can give the best speech ever. The human side of it is they get to choose whether it hits them. You don't get to choose that.
Yeah.
You just have to put yourself out there as the best you can, give everything you have, right? And see if it sticks.
and see if it sticks, and then not give up on them.
And not give up. Yeah. That's a good point.
Understand that they might not get it the first week, the second week, the first 6 months, the first year, but eventually they have to make that choice, and they're going to get to a point in their life where you're no longer have that influence, and you hope by then they've learned those lessons that you've tried to impart.
Absolutely. Well, take us back. So catch people up if they don't know. Obviously, I know your story, your history. Go back through the incident that took place that kind of changed your life.
Grew up in Long Beach my whole life, and played baseball my whole life. Was a good baseball player. Had a chance to play college baseball at Long Beach State before my accident, and at 16 was up at a church camp up in the Fresno mountains called Hume Lake. nothing to do with sports, just 800 kids from around the state, increasing their friendship circle kind of thing. And there was another big kid from a different school district, and we were just two athletes, and like, hey, you want to wrestle? Yeah, let's just get after it a little bit. Not mad, not trying to hurt each other, just two athletes doing what boys do.
Just kids having fun.
Randomly, I'm sure there was adults there telling us what not to do, and we were probably like, those adults don't know what they're talking about, and just picked this kid up, fell over sideways. He ended up landing on me, ended up bending my spine up in the cervical level, like 5, 6, and 7 on my neck. And then when the spine bent, it created like a paralysis from the shoulders down at first. And we were up, it was February 18th. It was snowing. There was a bad storm. They couldn't get a life flight helicopter into the mountain. They couldn't get an ambulance up the mountain. And I think at first, it was just like, man, we have this big athlete. Maybe, in playing football, you hit your head wrong, you get a stinger. Body shuts down. Yeah. Eventually you work.
He's going to be all right.
You work it out. And I'm sure they were thinking, this kid plays football, he plays baseball. Let's just get him to like a safe place and let the body do its thing. And, hopefully it's just a pinched nerve. And then, I remember the door kind of being cracked and just hearing the voices outside the door and them getting more nervous. And I remember hearing like blood pressure, spinal cord, heartbreak. I'm hearing all these terms, not understanding what's happening. And then, it obviously became very apparent to them that we need to get this kid to a hospital for evaluation. Yeah. And it ended up being a spinal cord injury. And they did traction at first, which is, if you can think of like a horseshoe, they screw it into the side of your head. They lay you on a board and they hang like weight off the back of it just to slowly kind of straighten your spine back out. The faster you treat, a spinal cord injury, the chances of a better recovery. Nowadays, right after my injury, like if I would have had my same injury, right when they would have got to me, like now, they would just jam you with a bunch of steroids to try to reduce that swelling. But back then, they just didn't have that knowledge, and they couldn't get to me even if they wanted to, kind of thing. So started off paralyzed from the neck down. My folks got a phone call that just said, your son was in a wrestling accident. He's paralyzed from the neck down. He's never going to walk again. We're going to do surgery and send him home. I mean, that was kind of their message. Wow. And, they're down in Long Beach. So on a perfect day to get up to, I ended up going to I believe it was Fresno Community.
Yeah.
To go full circle, we'll go back to it maybe. But I found out later, like 10 years ago, I found out that I was denied going to Children's Hospital, where I now am an employee.
Wow.
It was a different hospital back then, a lot smaller in a different location, and they just didn't have a high enough care to take care of somebody like me. So they ended up denying me and sending me to community hospital. It's like on a perfect day from Long Beach to Fresno.
It's a drive.
Yeah, 4.5 hours maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But the grapevine's closed. It's snowing. So that 4.5, it turns into 8 or 10 for my mom and dad to try to get to their boy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure they're thinking the whole way up. I'm sure it felt like days to them. And they're probably just thinking, there's no way this is going to be as bad as what they're saying. Like, we're going to walk through the hospital and the doctor will be like, oh, hey, Mrs. Poppen, he's starting to walk again. Or we're starting to see recovery. But my mom and dad was like, no, it was just exactly what they said on the phone. Exactly what it was. So the next day, my mom and dad were able to organize a flight down to Long Beach, where I did my rehab at Long Beach Memorial. They wanted me to be surrounded by my family and friends, all that love, while I'm going through the rehab. So I'm very appreciative that they did that.
And you had people, that's a lot to take in. You had people who came to help you once you were down there and impact you, or were you on your own, or how?
No, I was. I mean, I'm thankful. We talked again beforehand, like, one of my mottos, like, what you give is what you get, and I was thankful that I must have given a lot to a lot of people when I was a young kid, because when I needed all that back, like my team, my friends, the church I was involved, like everybody came to the hospital so much that the doctors had to come out and tell my friends, like, hey, you guys need to organize and come back in smaller groups. We can't just have Milliken High School take over the whole lobby. Like, you know what I mean? That's really what happened. And so they, organized in smaller groups of 20. Yeah. And I mean, I don't think there was a day in rehab where I didn't have a group of people there for me.
And with that injury, obviously It's just life changing.
Yeah.
What do you think it was in you, or when was it that you decided I'm not going to let this impact me? I'm going to try to fight as hard as I can for this thing.
Well, there was nobody like what I am for Children's Hospital. There was nobody like that for me. So I didn't even know what was out there for me.
Yeah. You're doing it yourself. You were creating you.
I was.
You're one of one.
One of one. And I mean, I'm
Yeah.
thankful for the PTs, the OTs, the recreational. I mean, everybody. I had a great group of people at Children's Hospital, but nobody had a spinal cord injury. Nobody was disabled. Nobody had gone through what I went through. So I'm just thinking like, yeah, they tell me I'm going to drive again, but they're just telling me that because they want me to smile. Like there's no way I'm driving again. Or they would talk about things and I'm like, yeah, but you guys get to go home with your family. Like no one's lived what I'm going through. And so there's a short documentary on me called Where I'm Supposed to Be. And my sister says in the documentary, the light in my brother's eyes didn't come on until he was introduced to wheelchair sports. And so for me, that it wasn't Paralympics, it wasn't the high level of sport. They just showed me an old VHS tape.
I listened to that part. It was funny because you reminded me of all the VHS tapes we had. But I listened to that. It was grainy for you, huh? But you were fired up.
Yeah, they showed me a video of wheelchair rugby and somebody getting knocked over, and I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't hardly move any part of my body. I was in no place to push a wheelchair, but I'm like, that's my goal.
That's your goal. Yep.
That's like let's get something on the books and let's start seeing where that leads me. I was the slowest, I was the weakest, like for many, many, many years. But that's when I started to set goals and started to see like, okay, I'm getting better. That guy that used to lap me, now I'm beating him. Oh, now I'm knocking people over. I'm getting knocked over less. Nice. And so wheelchair sports was kind of the foundation for me to start being inspired and start living my life after a disability. And that just kind of led into like, if I could do sports, I could do school.
Yeah.
Like, if I could do school, I could do college. If I could do college, I could get a job. I don't have to, live on the state. I don't need Social Security. Let me go navigate this life and be successful so that we could show other kids that there's a future for them too.
And yeah, I don't even know it. So much inspiration in there. I always try to take people back to those decisions, those life decisions, and who impacted you. There's a couple there. There's the moment where you decide in the hospital or in your rehab that you're going to go for it and try to better yourself and improve. And that's through just a rehab, right? Was there someone who impacted you, who inspired you during that time, or or was it just you internally?
No, I mean, it was definitely not just me. There was definitely like, there was one girl, Heather Duncan. It wasn't my girlfriend, but just a good friend.
Yeah.
And her mom and dad let her stay home from school for like the first month. So she did all her work at the hospital. She waited in the lobby and was the last person to see me every day.
Wow.
And so just knowing I had somebody out there that at the end of the day, I could cry with, I could yell with, there was no judgment. And so just having someone like that even though all the other people were a big support, she just has a special place for her family to understand, like, hey, Brent needs this support and we're going to allow our daughter, she wants to be there for him. She ended up singing at my wedding. She went to Greece for the Olympics with me, traveled with my wife. So,
So there's that moment, stick with me. And then and now I love this part because people miss this in life. This is like, then you put yourself in a brand new environment. So you win rehabbing and now you're moving around and you see a video and you become inspired about this video, but now you start on the bottom again.
Yeah, again.
And you're going to do this multiple times in your life. In fact, you're still doing it, right?
Yeah, still doing it for sure.
And so take me back to that. You see this video and now you're in this new environment. How the hell does Brent Poppen go from just surviving in this new life he's in to I'm going to kick ass at this new sport?
I mean, I think being an athlete at heart was a big benefit to me. And so just knowing that there was a aggressive, testosterone-filled sport that I could legally knock people over in and not get in trouble, which is my same way for football. Like, even though football wasn't my future in college, like it was my way to let out all my frustration in a way where I wasn't going to necessarily, I might get a flag, I might get a timeout or on the sideline, but I'm not going to get in trouble. I had like a legal place to let out all my anger. rugby ended up being that place for me as I'm rehabbing and feeling that frustration. I was now getting back into the gym. I was now feeling like I was athlete again. I was working out. And then I started to learn about the higher levels of wheelchair sports that I didn't know were out there.
Who was mentoring you during that time? Did you have a specific mentor? Or did someone latch onto you? Or?
I gave you a copy of my autobiography. In my autobiography, there was a couple people. One named Rick Draney, who had my level of injury. I didn't know him. I didn't know him as when I was going through my rehab. I met him after I started playing sports, but he had my level of injury, and he was driving a raised up truck. He was doing all these things. Like, I'm like, how? I didn't even know that was possible for me to have a raised up truck. I thought I had to have a van with a lift on it. So he was the first one that was similar to my level of disability, but doing things that I didn't think were possible. And so he was kind of like my rabbit I was always chasing.
Yeah.
So he was a big, Steve Everett, a kid in a power chair that lived down in Long Beach, ended up being a coach of mine, who had lived his life with a disability. So he wasn't into being like, poor me. He wasn't into like,
oh, I must have busted your balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And then I think he saw the athlete in me. And so was like, we're going to grind this kid and we're going to see what his potential could be. So I think between Steve Everett and Rick Draney were probably the two people with disabilities that were kind of my mentors and my inspiration. And I'm hoping that I'm setting the bar for kids to overachieve what I've done. And I just hope we keep that path going.
Wow. Yeah, the people are there. Not you're inspiring people, and then people are around you. But you're opening your eyes and not feeling sorry for yourself, and you're setting new examples. You know, because it would have been easy to say, "This is it," right?
Yeah, and
I mean, people would have felt okay with that. They would have supported you in that too, saying, "You know what, this is it," but you didn't choose that.
No, and I think even my mom, my sister, my dad, they weren't into babying their son or making life easy for them. I definitely knew I had a foundation to fall back on. If I did fail or if I didn't accomplish something or I needed that extra love and support, they were there 100%. But my dad worked out at that time it was Atlantic Richfield that did Arco Gas. He worked at he was a pipe fitter, worked at a refinery, just grinded it out from high school. And when I got hurt, he had been there, since he graduated high school, 18. So he'd been there, 30 something years or almost 30. And they came to him and said, hey, like, we can make your son, the quote equipment manager of our facility, put him on the payroll. He doesn't have to show up, but we could just, give him so he has a paycheck and we'll take care of him, and, kind of old school style.
Yeah.
And my dad said, no, like, we're not taking any free handouts from my kid. He's going to earn everything he gets.
Wow.
So, I think that mindset is, I got it from my friends. I got it from the athletic people, but I also got it at home.
Yeah, that accountability piece of we're still accountable for doing our best, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, and we're always going to be here for you, but life's not going to be a free handout for you.
Wow.
You're, whether you're in a chair or not, you're going to earn what you get.
Solid values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You nailed it with the people, so you still have some other things going. So obviously you made the team, in your rugby stuff.
So end up doing playing both wheelchair rugby and wheelchair tennis at the bottom levels, getting beat by everybody.
How old are you right now?
I got hurt when I was 16.
Okay.
I started playing sports when I, probably competitively that next year at 17.
Wow.
So from 17 to 21, 4 or 5 years at the bottom.
Okay.
And then slowly in tennis, I remember I beat someone that had always beaten me. I never lost to that person. So check him off the list.
Oh,
okay,
you went hunting.
So now, I went hunting. So now I'm chasing.
Let's go.
Number 25 on the list. Okay, I beat that person, never lost to him again. All the way up until Rick Draney, who was one of the top tennis players, ended up beating him, 20 years later, and then never lost to him again. So it was just a constant checking people off the list. Same way for rugby. The team I was on slowly got better. I got better. We started winning competitions.
And rugby team's all down in Long Beach right now?
This is all in Southern California.
Okay.
There's like team, kind of like club teams.
Yep.
Is what you would think for wheelchair rugby. Started winning sectional tournaments and then getting bigger at national tournaments. and then, eventually got invited through the Paralympic coaches, come watch all the competitions at the highest level. And they're like, hey, that kid, we don't know that kid, but he has a chance of making the Paralympic team. Let's go reach out to him.
You found your purpose.
Yeah.
And but you jumped on it so quick, man.
Yeah, it was a unique. I don't always get to share the story about the Paralympics. What usually happens is Paralympics are like the Olympics, 4-year cycles. They compete at the same places, train at the same facilities around the country. It's a 4-year program. You try to make the team. For rugby, 300 guys might get invited for that 4-year cycle, and then they quickly start cutting people. We might have a 2-week camp, and at the end of that camp, we're cutting 30 guys off the team. So you're done. Weed them out, and then slowly over 4 years, those camps get longer, and now now you're down to 20 guys, so it gets a little bit harder. Some camps will get an email that says, hey, we're not cutting anybody after 2 weeks, so there's a level of like, all right, we're just here to compete. I don't have to worry about getting cut. And then about 6 months before the opening ceremonies, they cut the team down to 12, which ends up being the team that travels and represents the country. For me, they invited me in 2000 when the Paralympics and Olympics were in Australia. I was just finishing college, and my mom, when I got hurt, sat down. No one in my family ever graduated college. And so she sat down with me and said, hey, son, make me a promise that you're going to graduate college. Because there's so many things with your disability, there's so many things in life that you don't have a chance of doing. You're not going to be a pipe fitter like your dad. You're not climbing up pipes or digging ditches. That's just not your reality, being in a chair. So getting your college education will give you the opportunity to open as many doors as possible. And being a mama's boy, when I made that commitment to my mom, that was first priority.
Yep. And you didn't realize, probably because you're young, she's your accountability partner in a good way, which she knows by doing this and getting this degree, you're going to set yourself up for success.
Yeah.
And the other stuff is going to come because she believes in you.
Yeah.
But that's a powerful conversation to have that, you do for people you love.
Yeah. Yeah. It was hard telling your son there's going to be certain things you can't do. But it's the same conversations I now have with my rehab kids. So I didn't try out for the 2000. I got invited to try out for the 2000 Olympics, but then I told them, sorry, being an Olympic athlete's a full-time job. Me going to college was a full-time job.
Yeah.
Didn't have room for both. And then
your love, how was that? How did that feel in that moment? Were you devastated, or were you like, this is the right thing to do?
Right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There was no. Again, I didn't know. I'd never been in the Paralympic program, so I didn't know the joy.
You were missing.
I didn't know what I was missing,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to let my mom. I knew what it felt like to let my mom down, and that wasn't going to happen. And so, in the middle of like 2002, I graduated college. Mm-hmm. Our international team lost their first international match. There's a documentary called Murder Ball that's on our 2004 rugby team.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
And so at the beginning, when we lose in Sweden to Canada, I wasn't on the team yet, but that was our first international loss in 2002. And so the coach just wanted to scare the players. So he came up to 8 of us that didn't try out in 2000, or some of them tried out but got cut, but were good players, and sat down and said, hey, I want to bring you guys into the next camp and to scare our players to make sure that they understand like they're not being complacent and that they're replaceable. He said, I'm not promising you.
Very strategic.
I'm not promising you a spot on the team. It's not an official tryout, but if you beat somebody out, I'll replace them. And right then I'm like, well, someone's getting cut from the team.
So it
know what I mean?
Hold on.
Tactic. It was
And
the
we're
truth.
bringing 8 new bartenders in next week.
Yeah. And I remember rolling through. It's in Birmingham. It's this huge facility. Rolling through the doors, you could just feel. The at that time there was probably 16 guys still on the official team over at one side of the gym, and then our 8 chairs were on the other. And
They were super welcoming.
They were not very welcoming. There was a tension, but I thrive in that, right? As an athlete,
Right.
I'm like, let's go. Like,
Yeah,
let's
hell yeah.
get it on. And then
There's a theme here with you. Yeah. Yep.
and then after those 2 weeks of competition, at the end, I was the only guy out of the 8 that took somebody's spot on that team. So somebody that had been in that program for 2 years ended up getting cut that day and didn't get his dream of being a Paralympic
Do
athlete.
you still talk to him?
No, he wasn't a close friend of mine anyway, so there was no love loss. But then the coach was smart enough. Right after that cut, there was a big international tournament over in New Zealand, a world championship. And even though I'd just made the team just a month earlier, he was smart enough to put me on that travel team so that I could travel with the guys and start to earn my stripes with them.
Yeah, for sure.
And then once we won that tournament and they saw, okay, he is a value to this team, there was a lot of team. I got invited to stay after and travel with the guys. Cool. And so the coach was smart to allow us to have that time to start bonding, and building that relationship.
You still talk to those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, out of the 12 that were on that team, I still in touch with 3 or 4 of them on a regular basis.
That's cool.
And while that's going on, is tennis going on simultaneously, or are you still doing that?
At the Paralympic level, I had to stop tennis. So in 2002, I told the tennis, I stopped traveling, competing for tennis. At that time, I had represented the country in World Team Cups for tennis. But now rugby, the Paralympic program takes over your whole life.
Because now you're at the big time.
Now you're at the big time. You're representing your country. There's a lot of time commitment for training, competing, social media.
Where are you training at? Now, so where is that training happening at?
I'm living in Paso.
Oh, okay.
And so, you talk about a team. The town got behind me. I was substitute teaching at that time. So the schools would, holler at the kids in the morning, hey, Brent Poppen's over in Japan competing. He won this match. So the kids would all stay up to date with everything going on. Any private gym I needed to work at, people set it up for me. So I didn't feel like I was just representing me and my family. I honestly felt like I was representing Paso.
You are. Yeah. Hell yeah. You still are. That we were proud to do this because time has passed, in some of those things. And, it's like, the community, we want to reintroduce you. Not that you need us, but sometimes you see people and you're doing a lot of things outside of Paso now. Not that you're not doing a ton here, but people see you and they don't know. Even I didn't know, all the things that you're doing. And so it's good to be reintroduced to your town and all the great things that you're doing. But we're proud of you. I'm proud to know you just to hang out, And
I always share with, I wasn't at everybody's homecoming from the Paralympics, but I can't imagine everybody got the same homecoming I did. As I'm driving back from my house from airport, coming around the corner, we live on a little bit of property, and all my fence line all has American flags. And then we live on a hill. They had painted the whole hill with Olympic rings, and then our whole garage was just filled with notes from kids.
That's so
what I
cool.
mean? And so,
and what year is that? Early 2000, right?
That was 2004. Coming home from those Olympics.
Yep.
Sounds like Paso chose you.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
you don't choose Paso; it chooses you, right?
That could not be more. Could not be more true.
And you don't get to decide if they love you; they decide. The community decides, and they love you. So that must have felt good.
Well, and then that was from that. So come home. And right away, I decide I need another challenge. I could have stayed in the Olympic program for wheelchair rugby. I feel fairly confident. I would have made the team in 2008. But I'm like, not many athletes get to compete in 2 sports.
Here we go.
So called up the rugby program. With Paralympics, we get in their doping program, WADA, USADA, just like the Olympics. So they have to know where we're at every day, 365 days a year.
Wow.
And so if they would know I'm here at Cal Coast. And then if I didn't come here, I'd have to send them a text. Hey, I know I was on the schedule to be at Cal Coast from noon to 2. I'm now going to be at 120 Aladar from noon to 2. Or I'm going to be at Kennedy Fitness from noon to. So they have to,
kidding.
Because they could just walk through that door in a suit and be like, hey, you can finish the podcast, but we have to keep our eyes on you. You're going to give us a pee sample. We're going to do a surprise drug test on you.
Wow.
I have the same thing, but it's called my wife.
Yeah.
In fact, check your phone. See if you're allowed. What time do you have to leave?
My air tag's in my shoe. God, I didn't know it was that hardcore.
It's that hardcore, and then So right away, I made the phone call to the rugby program and said, take me out of the doping program, take me out of the rugby program. I'm now going to go into the tennis program and start grinding to see if I could qualify for tennis. And tennis is different than rugby. Rugby is a selection committee that, I don't know how many people are in the committee, 8 or 10, watch all the training camps.
Yep. In my time in athletics, I already know what you're going to say. You got to beat everybody in tennis, right?
Yeah. And so tennis
it's all on your own, right?
Yeah. And we're governed by the ITF, which is the same as, the able-bodied tennis.
Yep.
And so you know where you stand. Every Tuesday, the rankings come out, so you know where you stand. And so I already knew starting in 2005, the next Olympics were in 2008. The last tournament to count was going to be the Japan Open, May 2008. When you finish that tournament on that Sunday, the rankings come out on Tuesday. If you're 1, 2, or 3, you get selected to represent your country.
Wow.
And so it took me, I hadn't played tennis now for 2.5 years because I was training and competing for rugby. So I started off again at the bottom. The sport had elevated.
Here you go again.
Yeah.
But you're used to this.
I'm used to this. Went out there for my first tournament, got smoked by people that I was beating, but just thought, you know what, just keep grinding. And it took me all the way to that last tournament. In the semifinals, I was playing against another guy in the U.S. team. If I win, I go to the Paralympics. If he wins, he goes.
Ugh.
It's game on right now.
Game on. So, 4 years of grinding. Number 1 and number 2 were already they had their spots no matter what happened. They were going. It was just that third spot. It was either going to be me or Brian. And kind of like what I did for rugby. I'm like, well, this guy just wasted 4 years because he ain't going to the Paralympics. Sorry.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like Jake
done.
beating me out front when we had a foot race earlier. He smoked me. I thought I could beat the young guy. He beat me. So you go in. Tell me teach. I know you gloss over it. The mindset, you just lock in. Do you think that's what you have a skill to do, or you think that?
Yeah, I just it's a gift, I think, that I was thankfully I was born with, and people were there to nurture it and develop it, and it's bled over into other parts of my life. But when it came to athletics, I didn't win every tournament, but I thought I was going to win every tournament. I didn't win every match, but I thought I was going to win every match. I trained like I was going to win every match. So when it just came for me and him, there was zero doubt in my mind that I was going to end up beating him. And it went 3 sets. It was a long match. Ended up beating him,
And the pre-match, what'd you do the 10 minutes before pre-match? Do you have a song you listen to?
Yeah, I'm a big music guy.
Yeah.
And my playlist goes from everything from old school country to Metallica to NWA to a little bit of jazz. So I'm sure that I was
sprinkled it all.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm sure I was just kind of listening and finding that zone, listening to that music. And rugby, we had worked with psychologists and they brought a lot of great people in. And so it was that visualization of I saw the match happening.
Nice.
I already played it out. I had already won. Now I just got to go do it.
Yeah.
I've already lived it. I've already dreamed it. I've already been through this. And so, there wasn't a lot of shit talking. It was just more look you in the eye, good luck. But I'm sure he looked at me like, dude, this guy's going to beat me down. And that's just what happened.
And when I work with young people, I tell them, what's the story that you tell yourself? Because you just described your story says, I'm going to do this, right? Yeah. And it's that voice in your head, or, your story is I've overcome these things and I know I can overcome the next thing. And sometimes with individuals, they don't have that story. Their story is bad things happen to me, or, I don't make it where I need to get, or things like that. How do you work with someone in that state to try to get them to where you are? How do you talk with them?
I'm a big believer in momentum, right? So let's stop that momentum of negativity, that's going on in your mind as fast as we can. It doesn't mean we're going to fix it overnight, but let's start finding positive. Let's start finding little wins, and let's start building on those little wins. And eventually those little wins are going to end up to you graduating high school. You end up getting a job. You end up being independent. People told me, the doctors in my life, some of them told me, you're never going to be independent. You're always going to have somebody wipe your ass. You're going to have someone to help you pee. You're going to have someone to help you poop. You're going to have someone to help you change your clothes. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. Like, that's just not the way it's going to happen. So my mindset was like, believe it and just start having those little wins. Let me get to the gym. I couldn't lift the weight. I fell out of my chair, but somebody was with me, like, pick you up, let's go again.
Yep.
There was a funny story in the gym. I would down in Long Beach as I start training for the Paralympics. I need to find a gym to work out in. And a lot of the gyms were like, oh, quadriplegic, because that's my level of injury.
Mm-hmm.
My right hand doesn't close all the way. My left hand's even worse than my right hand. People argue with me all the time that I'm not a quadriplegic. Like I don't know my own disability. But
I'd like to meet those people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, it's a big part of my
really
life.
Exciting
Like,
conversation, right?
I'll always like hashtag quadriplegic because people will say a quadriplegic can't drive. Their reference is like Christopher Reeves. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's just a huge, in any disability and within life in general, there's a huge spectrum. And there's that same spectrum with the disability. And so I want to show people that term doesn't have to have a negative connotation to it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you're doing that, and in spades, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I call dibs on helping you pee. You're as independent as they come now.
Yeah, no.
Shit, you're on it, and you and your wife, you're a testament. You get to do some great things. You travel all over the world, and your story is almost just unbelievable, to be honest with you. When people hear it, because you're not even finished yet.
Right.
You do the tennis thing, and then at some point you reach
where did
success.
we end with the tennis?
So I didn't have medaling in tennis. I lost right before the medal round to the guy who ended up winning the gold medal. I lost long tie break. It was hot. I could relive it. I relive it every time I talk about it. I had match point against them, and if I win it, I go to the medal round, and I should have hit a ball back cross court, and I just thought, I'm tired. Like I have a chance to win this. I hit a shot down.
Went for it.
I went for it. Shot down the line. It looked good. It felt good off the racket, and the ball just like slowly, like in slow motion, maybe landed a half-inch out. And I remember thinking in my mind, like, "Oh, please call." I know it's out, but like the umpires call it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, "Please call that in." Right? The
Son
match is
of a
over. I won't lose any sleep. You know what
Let's
I mean?
go.
He called the right call. It was out. Went a long tie break. Lost the tie break. But what I always finish with is I got to roll like my chair on top of the Great Wall of China.
Oh shit!
And
Okay.
so I didn't
cool.
I didn't medal, but still had a life changing moment. And what
Different type of medal.
different type of medal. And what it allows me to do is, right, I've had the blessing of having a medal draped around me, so I know what that moment feels like. But what I try to teach the kids at the hospital, man, it's not about that moment; it's about the journey.
100%.
You know what I mean? That journey for wheelchair tennis was 4 years of memories and moments. And yeah, I'm bummed I didn't get that moment of someone putting a medal over me, but that just lasts for a short time.
Seconds. You're absolutely right.
It's the life lessons over those 4 years. So it gives me both perspectives of being able to teach kids, yeah, that was great putting the medal over me, but I also have lived that disappointment, but look back on that journey, and that's what was most important.
And it's also that authentic piece of, you put your heart into something, and we don't always get what we want. We don't always reach where we need to be, and that doesn't define us, though. Right. It, like you said, those rungs of the ladder just making you better.
And for me, and you guys always have that same, it's about making the world a better place.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line.
100%.
And if we're aware of that each day, like when I talk to universities, and because it hits home with them a little bit more because they're a little bit older, so they get. But even I was just at a middle school last Friday. We talked about it, and I said, if I know I'm going to impact you, why not make it a positive impact, right? We could both agree, me and these 300 kids, we're going to have an impact on each other.
Yeah.
Right? I'm with you all day today. Like, if I'm yelling at you guys, it's going to be a negative impact. You're not going to get a lot out of me. If you guys are rude to me, if you guys are disrespectful to me, I'm not going to get a lot out of you guys. And if we know we have that impact on each other, why not make it a positive impact?
Yep. I had a coach who said people are either rubbing on you and like trading paint, or you're rubbing off on them. So somebody has to be the happiest person in the world. Why not us, right?
Yeah.
And it's not always that way, but we might as well start with that goal in mind.
No,
for the
and
day, right?
I mean, we all have bad days, like things go, but it always that reflection. Like, okay, let me just take a moment. Let me realize, okay, things are bad. I've had a bad day. I'm allowed to have a bad day, but my wife's gonna give me a hug. My friend's gonna give me a hug. I'm gonna have someone to yell with, someone to cry with, and let's make tomorrow a better day.
Yeah. And your story is we're like only a quarter way through it. You're still going. So the tennis thing does well, but do we skip to being an author, or we have some things going in between there?
No, so the tennis thing goes well. End up not medaling in tennis.
Yeah.
Come back and say, I want to do one more Paralympic run. So I want to do 3 Olympics, Paralympics, 12 years of commitment, and then we'll see where life takes us after that. So call the tennis program, tell them, hey, I'm out. I'm going back to rugby, kind of my first love.
I figured you would have took tennis one more time.
No, I know.
Just to hunt that guy down.
I know, right? Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. I just thought this, I mean, I did love tennis. I love it's live and die with you. You're the only person. But as someone who loves a team,
Yeah, team.
I wanted to finish my Paralympic career off with a team sport. So call the Paralympic coach. Go, hey man, I want to invite back to the Paralympic. I know I'm starting at the bottom, but I want back in the Paralympic program. I'm leaving tennis, and he's like, yeah, free pass, obviously, not to the team, but to start.
Yep.
And obviously, I had I was up the chain a little bit, right? I'd already competed for him. He knew I was a competitor. So I had definitely had an advantage. End up making the team, end up being team captain for 2 years during that first 4-year cycle. Overtrained work, end up getting a random blood infection that went septic. And when you have a sepsis, gets into your bloodstream, got to my heart, got to my brain.
Is that a virus? Just so I'm clear, is that a virus in your? What is that exactly? I've heard of that.
So
how do you describe it?
Yeah, I would just describe it. When I was training for the Paralympic, it's grueling training. I had worked up a little sore on my butt. Like doing a lot of swimming and then sitting on the cement and just grinding. And I knew there was like a little sore there. I was kind of babying. And I just kept thinking if I could just make the final cut,
training.
And then once I make the final cut, then I could take my body, could take care of it, and I'll be all right. We were watching it. The Paralympic training staff was watching it. I was traveling around the world, but like sweating on airplanes, waking up in pools of sweat. Like I knew my body. But as a 2-sport Paralympic already, like, dude, I got this. Let me just grind. My wife telling me to go to the hospital. My friends tell me like, I go, no, I ain't got time for that. So on July 18th, end up getting really bad, and my wife called my sister, who's 6 years older than me, and she does ECMO nursing at USC, and she called my sister and said, hey, you need to come talk to your brother. He's so sick, he can't talk, and he won't go to the hospital. I don't remember any of this. My sister drove up from Long Beach to Paso, or LA to Paso, walked in the backyard, I don't remember any of it, started bawling. She's like, people live in, like, they do lung and heart transplants where she's at, and she's like, you're the sickest person I've ever seen. So she just picked me up out of my chair, took me to the emergency room that day, and the doctor came out and said, your brother had 3 days. Like if you didn't bring him here today, by Wednesday, he'd probably be dead. Jesus. So I don't remember any of this.
Yeah.
Had to spend 35 days in 2 different ICUs between Templeton and Irvine, major surgery, and then 7 months, 24/7 in a hospital bed with 3 IVs in my arm. So that ended I still thought I was going to make the Paralympic
You're
team.
like, let me out of here because I've already done this.
I was so sick. I couldn't feed but my mentality was I'll get through this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell anybody how sick I am.
It's a flu. It'll kick.
Yeah, right. And then obviously word got out, and the coach called me, months later and said, hey, Brent, we know you're fighting for your life, but I have to cut you from the team. If you can't make the training camps, there's another guy that's going to take your spot. And I knew that was coming, right? So
once again, hold on, pause there, because the resilience, I know you think it's easy. People, that's why we love this. If you're out there, once again, you're faced with a decision actually you don't get a decision with information that could be devastating. And what's your response to that?
It wasn't Paso chose me, life chose me, right? Life decided
there's a reason.
You're going to lay down here for 7 months and we're just slowing things.
Yep. And once again, your choice was not to feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
It was to do what?
It was to survive at first. There was moments,
Good choice.
right? There was moments.
Yeah, and if you don't choose that, you don't know what happens,
and
right?
That's a big part of what we teach at the hospital, right? Your mind's a powerful tool, and if you don't believe it, if you can't see it, it's going to be a lot harder for you to achieve. But again, like you say, a team. Like in those 35 days, my wife, my sister, or my mom, somebody slept in that room.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And not that I talk to them.
The people. Yep.
And it's what I tell the families for our kids at the hospital. Like, you don't need to talk to your kid. Your kid doesn't want to talk to you all day long, right? But when they wake up at 2 a.m, they just see your shadow. They feel you in the room, and that's enough for that kid. So if your kid's not crying with you, if your kid's not, opening up his heart to you right now, just know when he wakes up and he feels you in that room, that's worth you being there for him. Yeah. And so I had that with me, and my wife slept on the floor on a blow up mattress, and I remember the doctor saying like the first 2 weeks, or there was like a 2-week period where he said, I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm not sure if you're going to make it. Like you are really, really sick, and we're giving you the highest amount of antibiotics we could possibly give you, and if your body doesn't respond well to them, like that's a wrap. So he said you might want to send some emails, you might want to make some phone calls, you might want to send some texts and say some different messages to people who you love. And I remember looking at my wife laying on the bed on the floor, like me not wanting to go to sleep because I didn't know, like, was this the last time
gonna wake up?
Then eventually the body just shuts down and your eyes start to flutter. I'm like, oh shit, I made it another. All right, there she is. Like, we're good. And then after like 3 or 4 days of that, the doctor was like, yeah, you're out of the clear, man. Like, you're still sick. You got a long road, but you ain't dying on us.
No Olympics for a while.
No Olympics for a while. But there was a teacher, Marcella, who worked at the school district in Paso schools, and she must have known me better than I know myself. And she wrote me an email and said, "Mijo, I know you're going to be in bed for 7 months. I want you to write a children's book." Never wrote a book.
Is it this one or this one?
That's the autobiography. That's the children's book. That was, and there's a big foreword to Marcy in that book. Didn't tell her I was writing the book, but when I got that message, I was like, yeah, you know what?
Hold on. Look at the frosted tips right here.
Well, still frosted, just short.
Oh, shit. He's looking good. I'm jealous. At least he has hair. Look at this good looking guy right here. All right. So she said another person intervenes and says, I believe in you.
See something in me that I didn't see in myself, for sure. So end up just write. It wasn't a book, man. It was a way to, it's kind of my life as an adult seen through the eyes of a second grader. I drew Mrs. Poppen in the book. She's the second grade teacher.
Oh, yeah.
I drew the cover. I drew maybe 7 of the pictures in there and then had somebody else do the artwork. But
so here we go again, by the way.
Here we go again.
And I go overboard in pointing these out because I love these stories. Tell your story. But you could have easily quit at any of these, or could have said, writing a book's too hard, or, I can't do that, or, those things, and you never did.
No,
every challenge you were like, that sounds like something I'm interested in.
Yeah, what was me? I could have just laid back, and there it goes.
Yeah, and no one promised me the book was going to be good.
No.
People would enjoy the book.
Still taking a risk.
Still taking a risk, and it was just a long story about a boy in second grade, kind of what I was living as an adult through their eyes, and randomly, probably like December of 2010. So I've been in bed now for 4 or 5 months, 4 months maybe. I get an email from a lady named Dr. Lucille Richardson. I knew her just as Lucille Richardson. She was my homeschool teacher when I was 16.
Oh.
Haven't talked to her since I was 16. And get a random email from her. Now we're 23 years down the road that I haven't talked to her.
Buckle up, people. Good things happen to good people. Right?
Yeah. And get a random email that says, "Hey, Mr. Poppen, this is Dr. Lucille Richardson. You remember me as Lucille Richardson? I was your homeschool teacher." I went to Milliken. She was actually from Wilson. And huge influence, probably a big impact on the way I teach kids at the hospital and work with them. It wasn't about education of like math and science. It was about education of life.
Which we don't teach anymore.
She saw the bigger. Awesome. She saw the bigger picture, and I am so grateful for her. And she goes, "You've been on my heart and I couldn't remember your last name. So she goes, I was praying about it. And she goes, like 2 weeks ago, I woke up, I'm like Poppen. So she goes, I Googled you. Oh my gosh, all the stuff you've been able to do. I would love to help you write your autobiography. I think if we put, I know you speak, I think if we put your life in print, you could inspire people. So I wrote her back. I said, it's not a coincidence. You're back in my life. I'm sicker than I was when I was paralyzed at 16. I'm stuck in bed. You might be the right person to help me with my autobiography. Other people have asked, but I just didn't trust them with my story. I said, but I've been writing this children's story. I don't know if it's any good or not. She goes, email me back. Well, we're part of this book thing. And she said, send me what you have for the children's book. If it's worth it, we'll follow up on it. If it's not, I'll be honest with you, and we'll just start working on your autobiography. So send her this draft. It wasn't a book. It was probably, 200 pages of a story. It was a long, I had a lot of time to write. And she emailed me back and said, we're all in tears. Kid books on us. Let's knock that out first. And then we'll start working on your autobiography. So during that 7 months in bed is when the foundation got laid, and most of the books got close to being finished. And it was another year before they finally got finished. So
people, your team, first of all, you get the message from someone out of the blue, but it's not out of the blue. I don't believe in, luck.
Right.
If you didn't treat her well,
Right.
and you weren't on her mind, and the way you carried yourself when you talked with her, she wouldn't have ever reached out to you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the same, if she didn't make an impact on you, you would have said, hey, I'm really sick.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do this,
Yeah,
right?
we wouldn't have followed through.
No. But instead, two people meet at this time and they both have the same conviction, right?
Right.
And here you sit, right? Now you got a book.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so now this has happened over and over. And we love this about this podcast is like, well, shit, you're killing it so far. I can't wait to see how this ends up. But it's that idea of like at every turn, you're still taking a risk. You're still putting yourself out there. You're still, failure is right there, and success is not guaranteed.
Yeah. At the
But you're not afraid.
no, that's all right.
Why aren't you afraid?
Yeah, there's no quitting this guy.
No,
Yeah.
I think not being afraid goes back to my family. I mean, from when I was little, I didn't win at everything, but I always felt like I won with them. I always felt like if I lost that game, like it was just pull your bootstraps up and let's get after the next game.
Nice.
We'll give you a hug. Sorry you lost, but we're cooking dinner. You're doing dishes. Like we're going out and practicing tomorrow. Let's just get back to it.
It's old
So
school.
definitely old school from both my mom and my dad. And there's a little story at the end of the autobiography. We talk about an echo, but not a voice echo, an action echo. And we talk about, a voice. When you say an echo, obviously whatever you say comes back to you. And I feel the same way with action. What you give to the world, you get back. And so I'm just thankful that.
I'm looking at Jake. We're always telling our people the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. You have to put it out there. Jake started his own podcast, right? And we just kept telling him, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to go, right? You have to see yourself doing it.
There has to be day one, right?
Yeah.
There has to be page one, day one, podcast one.
Get through day one. After
Client
that,
one,
it's
beer
easy.
one,
Yeah.
wine
Yeah.
one. Like,
Get through the first one.
there has to be a
Oh,
one.
yeah. So now you're an author. The book goes well, and then is public speaking like right behind that, or how does that?
No, right.
How
so
does that work?
So the books get done. I'm now had the major surgery in March of a year later, March of 2011.
Well, we forgot. So many good things are going on. You still have to get out of the hospital.
Still gotta
right?
have. And I wasn't strong enough to have the surgery. I was just so sick, and so.
And you said something. I want to go back. You said it was worse than your original. At this point, is that worse? Is it
For me, mentally, it was worse. Right at 16, being paralyzed obviously is terrible as a quadriplegic, but again, as a kid, like let me just get back to life.
right?
Now at 35, I see the fear in my mom. I see my wife being so scared. I see my sister leave her job, and her job told her, well, you have 3 months of like family leave. She's like, fire me. Like I'll be back when my brother's healthy. And
You're
of course-
fully aware of your situation.
yeah, and the impact on my selfishness, wanting to be a Paralympic athlete, putting my body through all this, has now brought my family into this very difficult time. So as an adult, I'm just more sensitive to seeing
To your team,
to my team.
to your squad. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why I definitely say it was harder living those 7 months.
And they were right there to help you get out of there, huh? They dug in.
Like I say.
Do you think they sense that in you? Have you talked to them about that? That you needed more help this time?
I don't think they would say I needed more help. I just think the way our family is, they were like,
let's go.
That's what we do.
What's what we do. We're not letting you out on an island. Because there were times, so my sister's probably going to hear this and get upset, right? My sister.
What's your sister's name?
My sister's Mandy Poppen.
Mandy, come on, girl.
She's a ECMO nurse at USC.
Like, well, she's a badass, huh?
She's the baddest of the badass.
Mandy, like, subscribe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm thankful she managed all my medical care.
Yeah.
And the only reason I got through it as fast as I did, honestly, was because she was able to navigate it for us and make sure there was no hiccups. People have gone through exactly what I've gone through. It's taken them 6 months longer to get through it because they didn't have someone like my sister advocating for them and telling the doctors what to do, telling the nurses what to do, being aware of, and having someone to look out for you. They wanted to send me to what they would call a rehab facility once I had the surgery, and that's just a convalescent home. And I would end up catching all these infections at this convalescent home, which is just what happens. And so there would be a lot of setbacks. I would still get better, but there would be a lot of setbacks. And she said, no.
She intervened.
If you're going to send them to a convalescent home, just get the bed at the house, and I'll take care of my brother at the house. Yeah. And the doctor was like, okay, well, you're gonna get better care than any nursing home or any other people I know.
Yeah.
So because they allowed that to happen, my sister managed all that, and I got through a difficult time faster than normal.
So you didn't do it alone?
No, not at all. Not at all. So then end up getting the books. I get better. We wrote the autobiography, got all the way up to the day I got hurt, doing all that over email and phone calls because Dr. Lucille Richardson was living in the Bahamas at this time. And I said, once we get up to the day I got hurt, I don't want to do any more over the phone or emails. I want to do it in person. And she's like, well, I'll fly out to California. I go, no, you're in the Bahamas. Like, let me get better and let us
Dude, wise man.
come to you, right?
You didn't lose any of those smarts. Yeah, I see you.
So towards the end of that, 2011, the doctor finally cleared me for traveling. And I said, how long are we going to be here? And she said, I don't know. Like, don't get a round trip ticket, So we stayed at a little hotel, and they'd come pick me up, and we'd go to this little room, and there was just 3 of us eating like homemade food from the Bahamas and drinking wine. And there was someone on a mic, someone doing like shorthand, and someone typing, and there was tears and yelling and all the different stuff. And weeks went by, just doing this every day. And then she asked me a question and said, I want you to sum up your life in 2 days or 2 sentences. And I said, that's going to be difficult. And she's like, well, we got time, right? And so just sitting there, and I think I got it. And I said,
you didn't tell her you need 2 more weeks.
I needed 2 more weeks. No, I think my wife was like, we got to get home. Like, we're running up a tab here at this hotel.
Oh, they're not covering it.
No, they're not covering.
No, I would have sandbagged that the whole time.
No. Erica would just hang out and do her thing, and then I would take off and come back 12 or
So you had to sum up your life in 2 sentences.
2 sentences, and so that's 2 Paralympics. Being paralyzed, before being paralyzed, all the stuff.
I cannot wait.
And I said, ended up at a place higher than from which I fell, and accomplished a lot, but gave more. And she just closed the computer and goes, "Go home. We're done." And that's how that's the last 2 sentences in the autobiography.
Wow.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you're killing it. All right, Frank.
That's not even a run-on sentence.
No, we're not. By the way, we're not even done with the story. Frank, sum up your life in 2 sentences.
Oh, God, it's still going.
Come on.
Strong. That's it.
Is it still going? Period.
Strong.
Period.
Exclamation point.
Love it.
What about your life? In 2
I
sentences?
would say
this would be a run-on sentence.
Yeah, this is going to be a long one. No, I'd say building teams and investing in other people's dreams. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And along with those,
did
they
you
help
rhyme
mine.
right
And then, I was a rapper, poet. I didn't even know it. Hell yeah. Well, Brent, shit, we're still going through the people. You're still going, by the way. So now you got a book.
So now
you're doing okay.
So got 2 books. Now
Pints.
a year.
We're getting to Pints,
Yeah.
but we still got a story. No, you still got the story to go. Hold on, not yet.
Got the 2 books.
You still got to become a speaker.
It's 2012. 2012 now. I missed my 3rd Olympics, but I'm getting strong again. The rugby program wants me to get back in the rugby program for 2016. The tennis program wants me to get in the tennis program for 2016. But now I am starting to public speak. I love it. I have the 2 books. So for me now it's another kind of decision. If I'm going to give up public speaking and the book stuff, then I'm going to train for my 3rd Olympics. Or if I'm going to train for my 3rd Olympics, I have to give up traveling and speaking. At this time, I'm on staff at Children's Hospital now, so that's a commitment. My wife's obviously the first commitment, so I'm not going to divorce Erica, obviously. I'm not going to give up my spot at Children's Hospital because that's a passion. And so it's either continue to public speaking, do the book route, or go for my 3rd Paralympics. And when I would argue with myself at night, where would I rather be? I would rather be in front of those kids, helping those kids, than on the medal stand of the Paralympics. So that just became what I had to decide.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
And I saw you some years, just a few years after that, I think about 2016 or 17. I came to the school district. So right in there, I'd seen you. But now you're speaking to kids and there's day one. Day one of speaking to kids, right?
Yeah, it started off honestly like substitute teaching, which was day one, right?
Right.
And
your wife was way better than you
my
were.
wife was way better at teaching. She was a master
You
professor.
came home and said, "How do I do this?"
She's like, "This is what you're gonna have to learn how to write nicer first of all. So figure that out, and then here's how you start to navigate the system." But the kids honestly, at Flamson was my first 6th grade was my first job, and the kids there was an opportunity to run all over Mr. Poppen, and they just filled me up. And I thought this is what I want to do, and then I loved having that impact on kids. And then all of a sudden I'd get a call from a principal saying, "Hey, my kid was in your English class and they won't stop talking about your life. I'm a principal at a different school district. Can you come talk to my kids?" Then I would go talk to her kids. And then another teacher or principal would say, "Hey, I'm a PTA member at another school. My daughter's been talking about you. Will you come talk to my class or my school?" And so it was just this organic downhill momentum. And I realized, am I going to reach more kids in the classroom, or do I just start taking up these opportunities to go speak? And so I left the classroom and just started to take off again.
Now you're doing it again.
Yeah.
That's what, you have to point this out to people, because people, once again, will look at you and say, it's weird, but people will look at you and say you're lucky, but you're not lucky.
No,
in fact, you've been through enough shit for anybody in their entire lifetime. 10 people, to be honest with you. But you're working hard and you're busting your ass every chance you get, huh?
We just talked about it at the middle school in Santa Paula last week, where I just said, people tell me I'm lucky, but I define it as when opportunity meets preparation. Right? I wasn't lucky I made the Olympics. I was given the opportunity, I prepared for it.
Yeah.
What those kids are doing today, you're preparing for the opportunity you don't know you're going to have. But if I didn't prepare in middle school, high school, and college to write a book, when the opportunity came, I wouldn't know how to write a book, and that opportunity would have been missed. If I didn't prepare for the Olympics, that opportunity would have been missed. So yeah, it's not about luck. It's about preparing for those opportunities.
And not being too afraid to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the people portion of the program. Now we're to the pints. Frank makes beer and crafts things on his own. We're going to dig in on that story and continue, but we love this part, which is Frankie makes beer, right? Frank, you want to lead into that? He builds things with his hands.
I do. I mean,
we love the
pine
craft.
portion's the craft.
Yeah.
And I feel like your craft is, I don't even know where to start.
What is your craft?
Nailed
what is
so
it?
much of it.
Frank takes grain, water, yeast, and hops and makes beer, right?
Amazing beer.
What is it's great.
I'm not a beer drinker, but
Thank you.
all the compliments I get from everybody
Awesome.
that wants to have the beer enjoys it.
Appreciate
Well, we appreciate that. What is your craft?
I think my craft would be helping others achieve, like kind of what you're saying, helping others achieve their dreams, and not just giving them the inspiration to dream big, but to be there along the path with them. You know, like at Children's Hospital, we tell the kids, when you discharge, like, you're not done with us. Like, you could always call on us. Here's our phone number. You could always lean on us. So I think my craft would be having an impact on others. Yeah.
Which you do. I mean, through all your stories or your life experiences, it sounds like you have impacted a lot of people, from family to the Olympics to everything else. Now, going back to Valley Children's, I have a quick question for you. You typically have those kids for how long?
It could be days to months.
Okay.
There's a big window.
And then when they're gone, like, they can contact you and support me, or if they have questions.
Yeah, but we keep our eyes on our kids till at least they're 21.
Okay.
So we'll have
So there's a program with that.
There's follow up that they'll come back to the hospital, and we all check in with the kids. How's school going? How's social life going? How's independence going? But even between those times, and that's one of the positive things about social media, I'm very easy to get a hold of. So I will get random messages on days that I'm not working, like from kids I haven't seen in years, that will still follow up and say, hey, Mr. Poppen, I'm having some difficulty with, you know, my independence. How can I learn how to drive? Or how can I learn how to pee on my own? Whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And then so they know they always have a place to come back to.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Take me through each time you leveled up or you decided to take on something or be uncomfortable. What's that process that you went through just to try to master that skill, right? So you're taking on tennis and now you're trying to be at the top. You're taking on rugby, you're trying to be at the top. You're a speaker, you're trying to be at the top. There has to be like some modus operandi or some SOP or what. Take me through like the skill development in there just for you.
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to when I was little, the coaches, the family that really helped me understand it's not the end result, it's the journey that's going to get there. So I was never afraid to want to be my best. I was never afraid to try to be an Olympian. I was never afraid to try to write a book, understanding it was that journey that was going to be the important part of it. So I think for me, and I just happen to have that drive to want to push myself and test myself on how great can I be? What's my best? What's the biggest impact I could have? You know, when I started working at Children's Hospital, there was no position for me. I just volunteered there for 5 years. And then after 5 years, they said, okay, you're having a big enough impact on our staff.
We need you.
And our kids.
Yeah. Stupid not to have you.
There was thankfully a lady that was, you know, that had my back and went into a meeting and said, if we don't find him an office and money, I'm not inviting him back anymore. We're just taking advantage of him. He gives us his time. He never asked for gas money. He never asked for a hotel. He never asked for travel. And he just comes and does his work and then he bails. Yeah. And he's had an impact, and they said, all right, offer him an office and money, and here we are 15 years later.
Yeah, because the important part in that story is you produce. You know, like, it's one thing to offer your services. It's one thing to write a book. It's one thing to be a public speaker. It's one thing to show up at, rugby practice or tennis.
Yeah.
But in the Pints portion, you have to produce.
Yeah.
You know, and you do. Why is that? Why do you?
Well, someone has to give you the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, someone has to give you the opportunity to make beer.
Yep.
Like.
Yep. But then
show me what you could do, and let's see what we could do with it.
Oh,
but then you have to come through.
You have to come through.
And how did you do that? Because you did it time and time again.
And again, it comes back to team, right? I mean, there's other. I get calls all the time or emails that say someone with a disability, hey, like, I see what you're doing on social media. I want to do what you do. And I go, okay, well, I excelled in sports. I did my best. You don't have to be a Paralympian, but I went through that journey to see what I could do in sports. Then I went and got my college degrees. Then I substitute taught to learn how to control a classroom and control an audience and talk to kids. And then I took every job I could for free just to go learn my craft. And they're like, well, I ain't got time for all that. Like,
hold on, I need the cliff notes.
No,
buddy.
I just want someone to call me and hire me and have me come do what you do. And I go, well, if you don't have that foundation, right, and if you're not willing to do that, then you're not willing to do what it takes.
If you're looking for the call that won't come.
Yeah.
What do you think you're best at through all those things?
Man, I'm trying to think of what somebody else would say.
No, what would you say? That's why we're here.
What am I?
What are you the best at? And that's a big thing.
I think I'm best like at the grind, like just willing to get up and do whatever it takes to get the job done. And I think that comes way back from my family. But if it takes sleeping 2 hours and driving, 14 hours to Arizona, when we're going to drive 14 hours to Arizona, like just willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done, and not finding an excuse for not having it, not get done.
Gives me chills. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand the grind anymore.
Right.
Like that is a hard thing to teach. And you working at Valley Children's, like you're helping those kids understand that.
Yeah.
I know the success rate may not be super high, but for you to go every single day and work with one of those young kids, that's pretty badass, Brent.
And they have to see value, and you have to produce, right? Because I don't bill out for my services. So, if you're a doctor, when you see the kids, you bill the insurance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a
It's
psychologist,
all billable hours,
PT,
right?
OT,
Yeah.
you take a soda,
Yeah.
that soda is probably $7. I don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
But like there's a bill for everything. When it comes to my services, I could spend 12 hours with a kid and the hospital is just paying me what they're paying me.
Yeah.
So that they don't get any financial, except for like when someone goes, and I didn't know this when I started working at Children's Hospital. It's a funny thing. We have like nurses that go out when a kid's in ICU at a different facility, and different nurses from different hospitals will be like, hey, we want to offer our rehab at Valley Children's. And then somebody from, Children's LA will come up, hey, you're kind of close to Children's LA. Here's what we do at Children's LA. Or we're in Colorado. We want you to come out to Colorado and go to our spinal cord. And then one of our nurses will be like, well, we got this 2-time Paralympian counselor who's been through what your kid's going through. He's going to go to school with your kid on the first day. He's going to do a program with your kid. He's going to be there to show them firsthand. And they go, yeah, we would rather take our kid to Valley Children's because you have this one unique
Oh yeah.
offer. And that it doesn't.
And it's worth more than money, but you still have to get compensated. Like you said, this is that
for a
portion.
raise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and the truth is, there's other people, right, that I know that could do a great job at what I do.
Yeah.
That are in different states, and they'll call and ask, like, well, like, how do I break in to that job market? And I'm like, well, you got, first of all, you got to have a doctor that believes that you're valuable. Mm-hmm. And I was just very thankful that there was a doctor that said, I want to bring him in. I want to see what he does with our kids. I want to take a chance on him.
Yeah.
And if that doctor, like otherwise you never get your foot in the door.
And
But
how
I
much
wanna-
were you paid at that time?
I said when I was volunteering.
0.
Exactly.
No, and that's
Same
what
with
Frank and I are good at.
old Toby.
We don't miss that. Tobin James, dude, hit it. Go ahead.
Hit it. I love the, what was it, boiled eggs and moped.
I was
free every
broke.
day.
He said his most happiest time was when he was broke on a moped eating eggs, right? We were just going to say the same thing. We don't miss the people. I don't know if it was our knack with students or stories, but that person who says, I want to be you, will miss, and that's what we're trying to do with this podcast, the part that you busted your ass and finished your degree. You took on every single challenge that was in front of you. You lined it up against the greatest athletes in the world. You volunteered your time and drove back and forth. And so when that doctor says, I believe in this person, they're believing in all those things that you've already done.
Yeah.
And that's hard to teach someone.
Yeah.
We didn't just show up here and this brewery magically appeared.
Right.
It was from our relationships with people. It was from our failures that we had been through. It was from the things that we had learned, the computer skills and Google classes we had been in, and all these different things, the ability to tap into mentors and listen and take notes and apply those notes, and for you're doing it every step of the way, and it's showing, and now you can take on anything, right?
And it's just what you're saying, what we teach the kids, right? Like that same mindset that allowed me to be a Paralympian is the same mindset that allowed me to have this job at Children's Hospital. Mm-hmm. I was willing to get up and do the grind. It wasn't athletics, but it was life. But that I was still willing to learn everything I could learn, put the time in, put the effort in, be authentic, be myself, and be honest. and let's just see where this leads. And
Yeah.
I'm very thankful that it's led to this place.
Brent just took us to possibilities. Usually Frank has to pee by now.
I do so bad. I'll let him intro that.
That's what he does. Oh no, well, Jake usually fills in. So Jake, come in and ask your question. Are you good? You have to pee?
No, I'm good.
We're
I'm
an
good.
open station here.
I'm good.
He's
I'm good.
3 beers. He's 3 beers in. Jake, come on in. Let's go. Jake is the same. So we have Jake. He's one of our guys, and he helped us with possibilities like Jakester. He believed in us. We wanted to do a podcast, and Jake said, "I'm going to help you do it."
Yeah.
And he's a Paso Bearcat grad.
Congratulations.
What elementary did you go to?
I'm from Minnesota. I'm
Okay.
from Ramsey Elementary. Go
My-
Eagles.
When did you move to Paso, or what grade?
In the middle of 7th grade.
Okay.
My family's from Worthington, Minnesota.
Yeah. Small world. There's quite a lot of people from Minnesota I've met in
Yeah.
the brewery here.
Yeah.
Jake, what's a question you would ask Brent here? Listening.
I don't know if I have many questions. It's more like inspiring. One thing you said you were trying to think of, like something that you would what you're best at, and I would say, and you kind of like said it, but I think your willpower. Your willpower is insane because I mean I've had my own fair share of battles, obviously, and everyone has, but like.
Yeah.
You know, there's many times in my life where I've given up, and just the fact that you never did, and then you set the bar higher for yourself, and like for everyone else around you that is capable of doing the things that they can do, and they just don't. Like, not only did you were pretty much forced to quit the Olympics, but then they're like, hey, we want you.
Yeah.
And you know, like you overcame those obstacles, and it's just your will is.
I think part of it too is getting that love back, right? Like what you give, you get. And so there's a lot of hard days at Children's Hospital, right? There's a lot of days, but there's enough miracles. There's enough love given back. There's enough fuel that not makes it worth it, but just gives you that path or that inspiration back. Like I try to give it, but I get as much as I give.
Yeah.
For sure, 100%. And I've found that with the Olympics. I found that with Children's Hospital. I definitely find it with speaking. When I'm walking out of this middle school, and it's a fairly a lot of violence in this middle school, and the kids are hugging me on the way out. The kids are slipping me letters and notes and drawings into
Because they want it deep down, huh? They're
want-
afraid to show it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did a school and there was a lot of gang violence there, and my conversations are very honest and emotional. It's not just a pat me on the back. We're going to talk about tough things. We don't run from anything, and we'll discuss it in an appropriate manner. But you know, I had a 10-year-old girl write me a suicide letter during one of my presentations, and I didn't get it till after school. But I could tell from when she wrote it to me through my website, like she must have been on a phone or a tablet during my presentation. And it said, "Hey, Mr. Poppen, we're talking about difficult moments and some of the toughest things you face. I often think about taking my life. Can you help me?" Right? So I get that. Right? Bigger power. I'm in the parking lot that day. I'm like, let me just look at my emails. And I thought it was from a teacher. So like, let me just click on it. I click on it. I get this. I'm not even out of the parking lot yet. Text the principal, "Hey man, this is a message I got." Well, he contacts mom and dad. They meet, and he's like, this was March. So this girl had been in his school since school started. He's like, I had no idea. Mom and dad had no idea. And they ended up getting her help. She ended up being very successful and doing great. But what it came down to was she didn't have a voice, right? I just want someone to listen to me.
Listen.
And sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah, I just want someone to hear what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's so busy. This is a very wealthy family. They got lots going on. They're nice vacation, nice cars. She don't care about any of that. Just somebody listen to what I have to say.
And she reached out, so it shows like
Right.
she wants
Trust.
to live.
Right.
You know, she wants to have this. Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, like that would be my gift is I'm authentic enough where a kid trusts me. Like, man, this
In
guy,
1 hour.
this guy's been through a lot. Let me open up to this guy because I trust what he's saying is honest and I believe him.
Yep.
Kids see through the bullshit.
No, 100%.
They do. They're the most truthful people in the world. By
Yeah.
the way, we lose that as adults.
And I mean,
The kids will tell you.
I love all the kids, and I work at a lot of inner city schools, and it's those kids that if they don't believe you, like they read you like a book. They know immediately if you're there for them or if you're not there for them.
Yep.
Or 100%. So I think that's a big gift.
Absolutely. And
Jake.
yeah, I just
Jake, you
credit
nailed
to
it.
you.
Once again,
Yeah.
Jake's a reliever. We call him in. We just, like Derek Stroud. We just
It's
we
weird
bring
too
him in.
because like obviously listening as well, like I was gonna say this at the end with my little mic over there, but like while I'm here, like you are the symbol of hope. Like for yourself, for your family, for everyone you meet, just truly inspiring, and you're just a testament that you can.
And we always go
Not
back to-
easy, but you can.
No, it's not. It's not easy, and I don't want to tell her if it's easy. But it's worth it, right? The grind, being here with you guys,
Yeah.
doing what I'm going to be doing on Monday back at Children's Hospital. The grind's worth it. But we talked about earlier. Surround yourself with a team, like having.
Yeah.
When I could call on Tobin, or I could send an email to Doug from Peachy Canyon. He was on a ship like in Australia, and I was in a meeting at Children's Hospital. I go, no, we could get this done. And like 3 hours later, hey, Mr. Poppen, that'll be at the office for you, ready for you to go tomorrow morning. Like so it's having those people that are by your side, whether it's my wife or the team at Children's Hospital. We didn't get into it, but I was also at the Las Vegas shooting.
I was going to bring that up in the possibilities.
And so
Yeah, hold on. I want to stop you on this because it's almost like, gosh, how do I say this, man? I heard about that, and I had known who you were and how you had been through that. You are there, present again after all the things you've been through.
Yeah.
And once again, you persevere. And I just, it's amazing. Do you almost feel like you're cursed or blessed?
Blessed.
Right? There you go.
No.
There you go. I think I was just trying to find the right way to say it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell the story,
No,
please.
but just
Your wife,
But
and your wife,
the-
you want to
the-
talk
the-
about possibilities.
Yeah.
I freaking love this guy. It's unbelievable. Go ahead. I'm
but
going to let you do
the
it.
end part, we'll go back to it, but the end part was like the first thing we get through it, but the first thing Erica wants to do is get back to her kids. My kids are going to be worried about me. They're going to hear about this. They're going to be worried about Mrs. Poppen. I want to be at that school the next day. For me, it was like I knew that I needed to be with my kids at Children's Hospital with my staff. And as soon as I hit the floor, Chelsea, takes me to my office, shuts the door, and she's like, let it out. Let's go. Like, I'm here for you. And just wraps me in love, So, like, having that team around, I definitely didn't go through it. My wife and I had each other, obviously, but she had her whole love, and she knew her safe place, and her place of support was going to be back with the kids and her staff at Kermit King. And I just knew I wanted to be around my team and my kids at Valley Children's. And so it's about, and we talk about it with the kids, you are who you roll with.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are who you, I spent a year working at the California Youth Authority when it was here in Paso, and worked with those kids, and they taught me lessons. But it was like, you are who you roll with. And when you surround yourself with good people, good things happen. You have people that are there for you, and you're there for those people, which is just as important.
Surround yourself by successful people. You
Yeah.
will be.
Yeah.
Surround yourself by scumbags. You're going to go down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely who you surround yourself by.
And it's not lost on us, on the impact of, once again, it would have been easy for you to say, I've already been through enough.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. This is the breaking moment. And they always say people are, one of three things when they're tried, at their toughest times. They either, they are broken by it, they ignore it and pretend it didn't happen, or they use it as a defining moment.
Yeah.
And every chance you get, it seems like you're just using it as a defining moment.
For sure. 100%.
Yeah.
And when I find myself wondering, like, what's that next
Something's
moment going to
coming.
be? Yeah.
Or do you almost, that's a great question. Do you almost have a hard time when you and your wife are in this comfortable lane where like things are always going well? Do you find yourself uncomfortable in that? Or are you okay with that?
No, I think we really try to be aware of it and soak it in.
Because it could change at any
It could
moment.
change at any moment. So we're very aware when we get that time with each other, like this weekend, like we appreciate the days that we have.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Every day is a gift, huh?
If you go on my hashtag, you'll see like every day is a gift for
There
sure.
it is. My Twitter says it's the old who was the long distance runner for Oregon. Either way, it says to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's just one of those things. You're killing it every day, and the possibilities is the mindset. What do you think it is about? You work with a lot of people. Your mind versus somebody who's struggling. What do you think the difference is?
I think what I see is those people don't have the same team around them that I had. And so I think that's what is special about like our team at Valley Children's. I told them from the very beginning, like it is a commitment, right? I'm driving a long way to be here. I'm not getting paid for it. My tires, my gas, the lube oil filters, everything has a value to it, right? And it adds up. I said, but if I feel like I'm around a team that cares about these kids, then I'm in. Like I'll be here every day. And for 15 years, I felt that way. And so it's trying to be that for those kids, trying to be a starting point for those kids to let them know, and the families, that you have a team here that you can lean on to help your kids be successful.
And do you feel I admire the way you are. I try to be the same way, in my life. I'm always the positive, try to bring energy to people. Is it stressful always being the one who has to inspire people?
Not, I wouldn't say stressful, but there's times where I need my own time. Like I'm wore out. I'm tired. There's been a lot on my plate for whatever different reasons, or things are hitting me at multiple times, and I just need some space. I just need to go away for a day or two and just breathe and have my own time with me. Because I think for me, as someone like for our kids that have been through at Children's Hospital, like some staff that are amazing, they might when they leave the hospital, they might not think of that kid. Yeah. Until they see that kid the next morning. And that's not a knock, right? I mean, they show them love and they give them 100% of everything they have with them. But I know what it's like for that kid at 7:00 when everybody leaves and everything slows down. And now like they're starting to think like, wow, life sucks. Like I'm paralyzed, or I'm sick, or I got an IV, or I got surgery. And I know the dreams those kids are going to have. So those kids never leave me. I think about those kids every day, all day long. And so sometimes that could be taxing on the mind and the body. So sometimes I'm just like, I just need my own space.
And how do you, what is it that you do that recharges you?
I go, hey, Eric, I take off Friday. We're going to Mexico to surf.
Heck yeah.
That's a great way to do it.
It just brings you joy, huh?
Yeah, just like we're gonna get out of the country. We love, even though like we talked about, obviously Vegas was a terrible moment and an incident.
Yeah.
There, but we love Vegas. It's kind of our place to go to get out of California, decompress, get across state lines. We don't see a lot of people we know. We're concert people, we're food people, so we'll just jump in the car, 6-hour drive from door to door, and we'll just bail and go to Vegas for 48, 72 hours and just have our time to ourselves, or jump on a plane and go be in the ocean.
Because you give yourselves to people.
Yeah.
And then you love that about each other. And so at some point you get to come back together and just focus on.
When I started playing, when I left rugby after the medal and went into the tennis program, Erica sent me a shirt that she was wearing that just said "Believe," and so that was.
She was ahead of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, and that picture stayed in my phone until that match, till I made the Olympics. But she's like, it's gonna be a rough path. You're not gonna win every match. There's gonna be setbacks. You're gonna lose matches you think you should have won, but you just gotta believe.
Yep.
Have faith.
Yeah.
And if I didn't make the Olympics, she wasn't gonna love me any less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She would have given me that space to be upset and what I didn't go back to was when we're talking about having that people who know you really well. my sister wouldn't leave my side when I was that sick in that bed at home because we had a hospital bed at home. So my sister, like, I go, you can put the cell phone. Well, what if the cell phone drops and you can't reach it and the power goes out and you need to, you need me and I can't be there for you. And I understood where she was coming from, right?
Right.
But Erica knew I needed, like, okay, Brent just needs his time. So she would come home on her, she'd come home from school on her shift, right? After teaching all day. My sister would, go to, that's when Sancho's was over on Spring. My sister would go have some margaritas at Sancho's and go back to her condo. And Erica would take the 3:30 to the next morning shift. And she'd be like, hey, I'm going to go get some groceries. I'll see you in a couple hours. And we never told my sister.
Yeah.
And she just, whether she got groceries or not, I don't know. But she's just like, I'm out. Like, I know you need your space.
Yeah.
You're safe. Your phone's with you, but just have some time to yourself. So I'm just very thankful to have somebody like that who understands me and is willing to be there for the ride.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Frankie, you get the last question here, buddy.
I don't really have a question, but I feel like Brent. I feel like your new nickname needs to be
Brent. Let's
the
go.
grinder, dude.
Dude, we love
grind
it.
all your shit out,
Yeah.
and that is a trait that I have 3 little girls at home, and I try to instill in them so much.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. If it's easy, everyone's going to do it.
Yeah.
You got to look at the bad, but think of the 10 positive and keep moving forward. And just listening to you, like, shit, man, you're impressive.
Yeah, I think it's important to allow people to have that space. Like, everything doesn't have to be roses, right? Like, that's just not
Right.
reality. So you have to give those people that space, that time, and be there for them, but then also not allow them to have that momentum build up and have day after day after day of negativity. Like, okay, you've had it.
You said it. What did you say
You did
earlier?
it.
We gotta break the momentum.
Yeah.
We gotta break the momentum of the negativity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like, my
We
kids,
gotta interrupt that.
I'll cry with you. I'll hug it out with you. We'll yell at who we need to yell at. But tomorrow when you get up, it's a new day.
We're not doing this.
We're getting after it tomorrow,
Yeah.
and not letting that build up.
Well, Frank forgot his last question he always asks because you inspired him so much. What's next for Brent Poppen? What's next?
Man, what is next for me?
What's your next big venture?
About 75% done. I'm writing a memoir on our experience surviving the Las Vegas shooting. So I'm just started probably a year ago, started writing it, and was just at a space where I wanted to relive those memories and those nightmares and the things that happened. And so I'll be hopefully have the rough draft completely finished by like December, and then start working on the final draft for the early spring of next year. So that's
Is the doc going to help you publish it?
No, I we'll see, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you publish your own books now, or how does that work?
I would like to have. I'm a big team guy, right? So
Yeah.
I like to have control of it, but I also know there's people that in that world that could do a better job than me.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So I would love to find a team that I trust that could say, okay, we have this rough draft and it's good, but let's fine tune it and make it better, as Dr. Lucille Richardson did for both of my books. I love to draw and paint. I drew some of the pictures in there, but I wanted somebody else to read it and get their view of what was happening. So when I get this done, I want to do the rough draft on my own. I don't want anybody to be there with me while I'll talk it out with my wife and we'll go through some different things. But once it's all done, I would love to, submit it to some bigger places and see if
This one can run.
if I fit with them,
Another level.
If we fit together, if they want to,
Sure.
there's people that wanted to represent me speaking, and they're like, we're gonna have to charge you 4 times. We're gonna charge
Yeah.
the school. I'm like, well, then we're not gonna reach as many kids, so you're out. You know what I mean? I'm busy enough, and I don't want to miss a kid.
How can Calco's beer leave you better?
You guys do. Just being you. Like we love. I think what drew me, especially to you, and now obviously to everybody, was your authenticity. Like you're just you're an honest person. You're not a bullshitter. That's why we love to come support you at your functions here. We send people here. And I just think having you as part of the team, like someone I know we're going to do a book signing here sometime.
Yeah.
We talked about it for
Absolutely.
years. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's just a matter of getting it done and organizing it and putting all the money back to Paso Robles, giving books to all the kids in the school district.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so for me, it's just adding to my team, and you guys are definitely a part of that.
Well, there it is. Thank you so much for your time. Your time is valuable. Thank you for
guys.
coming. Yeah, we appreciate it.
It's been an honor.
Yeah,
I would
appreciate
cheers you, but
We're out of beer.
we're out of beer.
We ran out of
Hey,
beer.
thanks.
My
Yeah,
friend. Yeah, cheers.
thank you guys.